Very good. Let's get started. Our last Zoom of the year, I believe, at least the calendar year. Good evening, everybody. Craig Peterman with BadgerBots. We got Brian Farrell, head judge advisor here. Jay Church, head referee, and Allison is somewhere on my screen. There she is, Allison, another head referee. So, as you came in, as usual, the call will be recorded and posted on the website, the YouTube website, I should say. And I will apologize. I recorded last week's Zoom meeting. It asked me to record it to the cloud, and I couldn't find it on my own cloud. So, user error on my behalf. Hopefully, well, with Jay here, we won't have that issue with today's call. We do conduct these, as you know, as a normal meeting, as if we have an audience of 100, because we do get quite a few views from the YouTube channel, which is why I kind of feel bad I messed up posting last week's. Anyway, moving forward, we had our two sectionals this past weekend, and 16 teams advanced to the championship, which will be January 19th at Waukesha North High School. I mean, I was at McGuanago. A lot of people here were at uh, Oak
Oak
Creek,
Creek.
and thank you. We're at that point of the season where I'm having trouble differentiating. But yeah, it sounded like both events went off really well, and so really excited to get working on the championship. We have the final sectional coming up this weekend on Saturday at Waukesha. And we have a guest speaker, the Waukesha tournament director, with us tonight. And that would be, yeah, Brian Farrell. So honestly, I don't think I really have anything administrative to go through. Those of you that read the newsletter today, we'll publish all the participants in the championship after the Waukesha sectional. Just do it on Monday of next week. So leave a little suspense there. Let's see, what other thing? I think I put it on the Slack channel. At Championship, those of you that are not aware, those teams are also competing for the postseason opens and invitationals. So most people are familiar with the first World Festival, I think they call it now. That's in Houston, Texas. It's going to be there, I guess, for a few more years. But that's where FRC, FTC teams from all over the country, all over the
World.
world, they congregate in Houston, Texas to compete. And so Wisconsin is sending two teams as we have the last 2 years. We also have invitations to send teams to Massachusetts, to Long Beach, California, to Atlantic City, New Jersey. What am I missing? Well, we got a new bid this year to Daytona Beach, Florida. So just keep that in mind for those teams that are advancing to the championship. There's actually potentially more FLL on the horizon for those teams that get the right to advance. And then obviously they would need to choose to do that as well. It is a significant undertaking to take a team of FLL and family across the country. So, and then the teams that are offered the opportunities will go down the champions ranking at the championship. Basically, the top team gets their choice of which postseason open invitational they want to attend. They choose not to, we'll just keep going down the list until we fill all 9 spots. All right. We'll talk about more of that about that later, but just a little nugget for those that are interested and excited about those opportunities. All right. Open it up to any questions for me. For those that are here on the call, obviously, I'll give you 3 seconds. All right. That's about 3. Brian, tell us about Waukesha coming up.
Well, this tournament's this Saturday at the Waukesha South High School, and we will provide information on that to the through communications as normal. Thanks for all the teams. They've actually replied back and confirmed their team numbers and names and any special issues requirements for judging slots or match slots. So we have that. We hope on Wednesday, if not Thursday, we will publish the schedule uh, based on that. There will be concessions at the event. We will send out the concessions menu as well. That is a fundraiser for the team. So if you can support the team, we greatly appreciate it. Core Robotics, the high school robotics team that's putting on the tournament. It'll be a typical tournament from a kind of a timing perspective, but we are going to be a larger tournament. So we're going to be opening up additional competition tables for actual competition matches. And screening to get extra referees to help with that. So thankfully we were able to do that. Thanks to Jay and Allison from helping make that happen.
It is the largest tournament we will have this season with 35 teams.
Any questions people have? Anything I missed?
Did you say where it was? Sorry, I might have missed it.
Waukesha South High School.
Right. No, I knew
401
that.
East or 401 East Roberta Avenue.
Yeah, I knew that. I just want to make sure that they knew that.
Yes.
I have to double check the door number. I think it's 15, 13. I don't know, 15 probably. But we'll have all the in the email to the teams. In the chat, there's a question: how many competition tables?
Oh.
Normally we run 2 pairs. We're actually going to run 4 pairs of tables, so 8. 2 pair at a time, so 4 teams will be competing at the same time. We've done this before, really. Pre-COVID is the last time we did it, but we've done it before.
We've only ever been to McWanago for the sectionals, and that facility there doesn't have a lot of space for teams to spread out or seating for guests. How is it at the Waukesha South? Is there good seating? We're just trying to think about how to advise families, both in terms of what the kids bring with them and also if they're coming to watch, kind of what to expect. We're used to being here in Madison, where Madison College has a lot of seating area and a lot of space.
Yeah, so from a seating perspective, we get a pretty large bleacher section for watching the competition matches. And then we actually do open up some bleachers. We actually use the same field house. It's a really big field house for both the pits and the competition matches. And we actually divide them with some additional bleachers and provide additional seating for families, and well, people for that as well. I'm still working on how big of a pit table. It'll be at least 4 foot. I'll see if I can pull off 8 foot, but I don't have an answer on that yet. I got to talk to the school about how many tables they have.
Cool. Thank you very much.
So one of the good things about the Waukesha tournament that I really like a lot is everything is all in one area there. So the families, if they want to go to the judging rooms, obviously there's, judging rooms down and around, but they can literally spend the entire day right in that field house. I mean, within, a couple 100 feet the entire day. Your concessions are there. The pit areas are on the back side. The competitions area is on this side. The restrooms are right there. So it's pretty user friendly for families. It's a nice big area. So it's one of my favorite venues. And we're looking forward to having lots of tables. This is going to be fun. It's going to get.
She's been excited all day.
I have actually. We haven't done this in 6 years? 5 or 6 years? Back from when we used to have 60 teams. But I think probably the last time we did this was at Waukesha, right? Probably the last time we did it was four sets in Waukesha. So, but anyway, we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a good time. Any other questions for Brian? I guess he can answer judging questions as well.
Go for it. Brian, any judging issues that need to be discussed or communicated?
I guess a couple things to just reiterate is again, the kids do the work, make sure that, you know, even the perception of, you know, coach involvement is something that, we hear about. So please, let the kids do the work, let them carry the stuff, let them work on the laptops, all that stuff, so we don't have to have those uncomfortable conversations that nobody likes to have. Um, and then as well as that, you know, make sure that you have your gracious professionalism and core values on, for the whole day. Those are long, stressful days. We know that. So just kind of keep those things in mind. The judging at a sectional and even at the state level is done the same format as we do, at the regionals. So that is the same. Now expect that the judges are, looking for more iteration and things like that, because that's what we expect that iteration. It's not just a one iteration. It's keep cranking the wheel, the gear to make it go. Question in the chat: do you know how big the table will be in the judging room? It'll be, I would expect, a 4-foot table, 4-foot poly table. That. I don't know, anything else, Craig, that you think needs to be brought up?
Not off the top of my head.
Well, I'll just jump back over to core values real quick and just remind teams and families that your team is expected to exhibit our gracious professionalism and core values all day long. That does include your coaches, mentors, everyone that's with the team. So don't cost your team.
That's family too, not just the kids.
Yeah. So as you guys know, that at the competition tables, there's a core value score there. So that is not just for your kids, it's also for your coaches. I'm not going to go into big detail here, but I'll let everyone know that if you feel the need to yell at or have a loud discussion with one of my referees, come talk to me and I'll advise you as to why it's not a good idea. It will affect your core value score. So we're not going to go into a lot of detail about that, but if you can't help but yell or get upset, I would advise you to leave the area.
And that holds not just for the competition area, that holds for the pits, that holds for the practice tables, that holds in judging, that holds with the cuers, all that, everybody should be treated properly.
Yeah, I mean, do remember that some of these people are coming from literally 3.5 hours away to volunteer for you, for your teams. So just, respect to them, and nobody's getting paid for this. So that's all. I guess we can take any kind of robot game questions. There have been no updates. Oh, you know what? Since we didn't publish the one last week, I'll go over that update real quick. Okay. I can probably do it off the top of my head. So on December 2nd, there was a game rule update specifically talking about the shark. And the shark has to be partially in the scoring area. Allison, what's it called?
The habitat.
The habitat, yeah. So, and it also is required to be touching the mat. So the update clarifies that it doesn't have to be touching the mat in the habitat area. So it is possible for instance, the head of the shark to be off of the mat, still in the area, but off the mat, and the tail can be touching the mat. So those two criteria can be met separately. The shark does not have to be touching in the habitat circle. I literally just got a question on Slack just a minute ago about the blue and the red borders. Do they count as in or out? The borders count for the team. So the blue and the red borders that are around your home/launch areas, they count as in for your team. So your robot can be all the way up to the edge of the red line and blue line. I think that's all. Just gonna check Slack again real quick.
Do we want to clarify any of the questions that came up at Oak Creek, Jay?
Specifically,
The starting outside with robot parts hanging over the wall
oh yeah, that's
in
it.
the hand situation, if you would like to
Oh,
talk about
yeah,
that.
that's So yeah, we had a couple surprising questions about teams coming through some other events. Um, one team, well, a couple teams believed that they weren't allowed to put their hand over top or across an area that wasn't in home/launch. Like, for instance, say you're in the middle of the board and you're reaching over to launch a robot. They didn't know that your hand could cross the mat area. They thought that you would not be allowed to launch your robot that way. So your robot is what we care about being in the launch area. It has to be completely in the launch area. But your hand can certainly reach across any area of the field for you to reach in and push go. So if you guys have something odd that you were told like that, that's not the case. I think it was just that one day at that one tournament where information was given out like that. Oh, and another thing, your team is allowed to stop their robot. They are allowed to retrieve their robot. They do not have to ask the referee to retrieve their robot. Either technician from either side. If the robot is out of the launch area, they are allowed to interrupt the robot and bring it to either side. So they do not have to ask the referee to do that. As a matter of fact, we usually prefer that they do it on their own so we don't drop their robot. And we will go over this stuff at the coach meeting as well. But yeah, just a couple anomalies that were. So a little bit of information, it was not exactly correct. Anything else weird we had there, Allison?
The only other one I had come up was one team was very confused that I would not allow their robot to start with a mechanism over the wall. So there was a arm attachment that was hanging over the wall, like the south side wall of the field when they tried to launch.
Right.
And just for clarification, quick, your robot has to be fully within the quarter circle of either launch area. That means that you cannot, when launching your robot, have anything extending over the wall.
So the wall,
That's
the wall, just for clarification, is the inside wall. So the inside of the 2x3s.
Yes.
So where the mat butts up against the wall, that is your inside. And on return, your robot can extend over the wall, and I'm saying can, C-A-N, extend over the wall, as long as it's completely in the home area when you touch it. As long as it's not on the mat, it's in home, and if attachment's over the wall, that's fine on return. But on launch, it all has to be, including wires, it all has to be within the launch area. I guess we should say as well that the 12-inch height limit is only on inspection, it's not on launch. I'm assuming that most teams know this stuff by now, but because we had a little bit of information that was incorrect, I want to make sure we're clear on it. Okay. If anybody has any questions about anything, or if you've read something in a rule book that you don't quite understand, just let us know. Contact us on Slack or email Craig, and he'll get an email to us.
Meanwhile, there's one more question in chat about the Waukesha sectional, asking what time the doors would open. That will be provided later this week, but I would expect it to be at 7:30.
I had a quick question. The kids were asking me today, they were a little confused because there are the two mission models, Mission 5 and Mission 6. Theoretically, they're same, shipwrecked. Mission 6, no team equipment can touch it. And with the new adjusted rule with the shark and the shark habitat on Mission 5, we have the shark on a platform that may or may not occasionally touch the mission. Is that an issue?
Which mission? Number 5?
5.
Touching 5 is not a problem. Touching 6 is a problem.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Just they were worried because it's the same ship.
Well, yeah, kind of. Yeah, I understand what you mean. Yeah. So it's like the front and the back of the ship. So the
Right.
anglerfish part of the ship they can touch with equipment.
Yes.
But do you remember the shark has to be touching part of the mat there? Okay.
It does have to be touching the mat in some way. Oh,
Yeah, was that a question or you're just repeating it back?
repeating it back. So if it doesn't touch the mat at all, it's not like the unknown creature where it can hover above in the unlimited zone.
Yeah, let's just go over that real quick. So, the shark, in order to get the secondary point, so obviously if the shark is no longer touching the cave, sorry, I need to adjust my screen real quick there, Brian.
Where do you want me to go to?
It's number 2. So, if your shark is no longer touching the cave, you get the 20 points. So, if you're trying to get the shark in the habitat, 2 things must be true. So, the shark must be touching the mat somewhere, and the shark must be partially in the habitat. So, what I was just saying earlier about those don't have to be the same contact point. The head of the shark, like you guys can be on the sled, that's no problem. The entire shark can be, levitated,
Elevated.
except for it has to be touching mat in one place. So if the tail is touching the mat, tail's dragging the mat, it's not touching in the shark habitat, that's fine. But those two criteria have to be met.
Okay. Back to the drawing board.
When you said sled, it just hit me that hey, they might be in the air here.
Yep. We're in the air.
Okay.
No problem. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, no worries.
We had a question.
Okay.
Yep, go right ahead.
So you know how like the blue line for home is a little bit thick?
Yeah.
Is it okay if like our robot like kind of like touches the inner part of the blue line and extends towards the middle, or does it have to be within the inner part of the blue line?
Yeah, I think you just missed it. We just talked about that just a couple minutes ago. So the blue line and the red line for their respective home areas belong to the team. So your robot and or attachments can extend all the way to the very last pixel of those blue and red lines that belongs to the team. So that counts as in.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Sure, yeah.
All right, anything else? Going once? Anything in the chat?
No, I think we're caught up in the chat.
I do not see anything new. All right, well, if there's nothing else, then we will call it an evening. Good luck to all those teams participating on Saturday. And like I said, we'll have a brief newsletter out on Monday, or maybe even before that. I got to check with Rebecca, BadgerBot's marketing communications guru. But we'll get the participants of Champs out to the newsletter FLL crowd. We'll get that out as soon as we can.
Hey, Peggy, if you can stay on a sec.
Ooh, Peggy got called to the principal's office.
All
All right,
right,
guys. Good
Love
luck.
you.
Everyone, we'll see you guys this weekend.
Yep. Good night, everybody.